That's my bottom line. There you go. You want my bottom line on the Utah Jazz? That's it. There are a couple teams in the NBA, the Grizzlies. I don't think they have the star power to keep up with the other teams. I think the Jazz fall right under that as well.
Oh, did you just compare the Jazz and the Grizzlies?
I think the Jazz are a much better team than the Grizzlies, but I think it's a similar issue. They don't have the star power to keep up with the scoring that's going on in the NBA.
Utah, Salt Lake City, I apologize for my brother here. I know y'all have great fans there that make it hard to play there. I know you play great defense, and I know y'all have got good scores. So, I'm listening to you. I got you guys.
We're going to wrap up the third quarter right there as we discover a sixth team that our friend Lamar has.
No, only got one.
Sure.
Only got one.
But we're going to go on to our fourth quarter. The scores in the NBA are so high.
Yes.
Now again, I might title this show Stats Galore because I've got some stats to share. Okay, over the last 2 weeks, you know how many days 2 weeks? 14 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
14 days. Okay, 14 days. Over the last 14 days, 26 teams have scored 120 points.
Mm-hmm.
What? 120? That's not too bad. 26? Okay, there's probably been a ton of games. Okay, 10 teams have scored 130. And you're like, whoa, they must have won those games. Not necessarily, because 12 teams have scored 140.
Yep.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Oh, don't think I'm going to forget. The San Antonio Spurs scored 150.
It's nuts.
The scoring is up again. If you add all that together, that is 39 times that someone has scored over 120 points over the last 2 weeks. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think this is the issue that we talked about this a while ago. When Jeremy was here, we talked about how the NBA has changed, right? Mm-hmm. And we talked about how the rules have really impacted the game. And let's just call this what this is, David. I'm going to hit you right now where it hurts because you and I both know how our teams just go back in the day when the Lakers and the Celtics were dogfighting it and playing defense, and if you came down the lane, and you know how that goes.
Right, and now this year I'm going to have to settle with beat LA for the Super Bowl because your team ain't making the finals. But go ahead.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, so not even gonna talk about that because next year we're getting Anthony Davis. Anyways, but this is the product of what fans overall wanted. They wanted the numbers to be up like this, which means the commissioner then listened to the fans. The rules were changed, right? So now, obviously, and we talked about this, not too long ago with, this was the effect of the Mouse at the Palace, right?
Right.
That it changed the game forever. That now if you just, it's a foul. It's a flagrant foul. And so now the thing is, with all this spacing now on the floor, and it's faster, the shot clock is now, when it's reset to 14.
I think that's a pretty big deal.
It's huge, man. The ball's going up quicker, which means more opportunities.
Right.
And if they're calling all these ticky-tack fouls, everyone's going to free throw line. The ball's going up more, man.
So let me break this down for you a little bit.
Yeah.
The top 10 scoring teams in the NBA this season are averaging 115 points per game. That's the top 10 scoring. That's Golden State leading the way at 118.5. Last year, the teams averaged 110. That's a 5-point difference from year to year. Golden State last year was averaging 112.8. They also led the NBA last year.
Right.
That's a 5-point difference in a year by the same team?
Oh, just wait till Boogie starts to.
Oh goodness, I don't want to think about this.
Just wait, man.
I don't want to think about this.
Yeah.
But let's go back a little further. 10 years ago, okay, the Phoenix Suns. No, sorry, the entire league, the top 10 scoring teams in the NBA 10 years ago averaged 104.8. That is over 10 points different than what it is now. Right. The Phoenix Suns, who were the leading at the time, averaged 109.4. That's 9-point difference in 10 years. But it gets even worse. Let's go back another 10. Actually, I guess the additional 10 isn't quite as bad here. In 1998-99 season, okay,
Gotcha.
the NBA averaged, the top 10 scoring teams averaged 103.8. The Pacers led the league at 106.5. So 20 years ago, the Indiana Pacers, 106.5. This year, the Golden State Warriors, 118.5.
Right.
That's a 12-point difference in 20 years. Obviously the rules. What about the athleticism?
I think clearly the average athleticism in the NBA is way better than it used to be.
Okay.
So I'm talking about average. Obviously back then they had stars, right? But I'm talking about the average player to walk on the court can as athletically better than the average player back then. Also, here's my other thing. I think shooting right now is way better than it was in the 90s.
Okay.
And I think that's something we need to dive into maybe as a good argument. But I think shooting is way better. There's more of an emphasis on teaching that in practice. There's more of an emphasis in practicing that. You know, back then guys were going to the hole. Right. They were going to dunk on you and then get the most poster. Right. Now there's like guys are like, no man, I can get one more point, shoot threes.
Right. The cool thing is to break your ankles and get my clip that way.
Right. That's the cool thing nowadays, man. And let's call this what this is. Steph Curry, which is why I put him so high up on my list of overall players. I think he really changed the game. Because now people were like, well, if he can do it, so can I, so can you. We all can be Steph Curry.
The Warriors play the Lakers at 9:30 p.m.
Thank you. Thank you.
There you go. Siri wanted to let you know about a game coming on later today.
Yes, sir.
So I want to parallel. Why are you sound so happy that they're playing the Warriors?
What? We're gonna lose.
It's Boogie's second game.
We're gonna lose, but maybe they'll take it easy on us.
Sure thing.
Especially after we beat them on Christmas.
Yeah, sure thing. So I want to parallel the top 10 teams and the top teams that I mentioned earlier with the bottom teams, because I was thinking when I was pulling these stats, the thought went through my mind of, okay, maybe just the best teams in the NBA like have this gap. Well, this year the Grizzlies are averaging the lowest points per game at 101. Last year the Kings averaged the lowest at 98.8. 10 years ago, Detroit, 93.5. And 20 years ago, the Chicago Bulls averaged 91.3. Now, that was the season after everything blew up. That was the season after Michael left and after Scottie left and after Phil Jackson left. After all of them left, 91.3. So, you compare 20 years ago, the worst offensive team in the NBA was scoring just over 91 points per game. Now, the worst offensive team in the NBA is scoring 101 points per game. We're seeing triple digits in every game, every night.
But that's the speed of the game. They've literally made it and done this way where you as a person watching the game, do you not enjoy watching basketball right now?
You know what I enjoy. I enjoy some defense.
You don't enjoy scoring?
I mean, I do. Like, I get it. I like just as much as the next person is seeing a good old shootout. You know, when the Warriors put up 50 points in a quarter.
Hey, beat Denver like a drum. Golly.
Okay. I mean, yeah, sure. I like seeing that. But I also like seeing when teams dig in defensively and hold each other in the 90s.
Okay, so this is exactly where I was going with this, David. You ready for this? We are now considered probably old for having that thought.
Wow.
Let that sink in.
Wow.
Because even though we're not that old, but we're basketball purists that way, right? That to the young people, or even just now the average person who watches basketball, they don't want to see that. That is not enjoyable. They don't want to see it anymore. They want to see scoring happen, David. And, you know, the other thing is, like in football, they had fantasy football. Well, now fantasy basketball is starting to be a thing too. And so they want to see stats. They want to see numbers. No one believes in defense anymore, man.
Well, yes, I agree. But of course, on our Stats Galore show, I've got some stats for you. Okay? Now, here's what I did. The defensive ratings over the last 20 years have had a much less dramatic change. Okay? Right. This year, the Bucks are leading the NBA 103.8 points. They're holding opponents to 103.8. The Cavs are the worst defensive team. They're giving up 117.2.
On average.
Okay? Now hold that thought. Remember, 117. Last year, Jazz, best in the league, 102.9. Suns were the worst, 111.6. That's a 6-point defensive rating change in 1 year.
Yeah.
But the strange thing is that 10 years ago, the Magic, the best team defensively, 101.3, which is just 2 points lower.
Yeah, right there.
The Kings, the worst defensive team, actually gave up 113.4, which is more than last year.
Yeah.
Hold on. Stay with me. Stay with me. I'm almost done. 20 years ago. 20 years ago. In the Spurs' first championship season, they held teams to 93.6 points per game.
Right.
The Nuggets, the worst defensive team in the league, 108 points.
Right.
10 points lower than today.
But again, the rules, that's the important thing to remember here. The rules and the emphasis of the game was way different back then, man. Back then, it was all about getting your bigs in the paint, controlling the lane. Nowadays, that's like one of the last things people think about. They're like, if they come down the lane, that's only 2 points. We're going to make 3 the other way. So, I'm calling it what it is, man.
If I ever heard a player say that, they would join my list where Jimmy Butler and Ben Simmons are.
I'm just saying, and think about it. Back then, when they had screens and stuff, they were fighting through screens. Nowadays, it's all about switching.
Oh, you can't fight
Switch it. Positionless basketball. That's what today's game is. Whereas back then,
I'm not on board this positionless basketball thing.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, with your Celtics, you don't have to worry about that because there are clear roles already there. But like, let's say,
I wish there were clear roles on the Celtics right now. Sorry.
But you know what I mean? Like, there's
you
like,
said the wrong words.
I'm just saying, like, like Kyrie's gonna play point guard.
Right.
He's not gonna switch off to a guy that's 6'9" or 6'10".
Right.
Right. Whereas the Lakers, though, they're gonna switch everything.
Because everybody's like 6'6". It's between 6'6" and 6'10".
Basketball, man. I'm saying that's what the league is today. I know there's not like. It just is what it is, man. It is what it is.
Well, scoring is up. Okay, and yeah, I get it. It's the more entertaining thing. So I guess that's the way that it goes. Thank you, Steph Curry.
So I have a question for you real quick before we end this. What about 10 years from now?
Oh. Well,
could scoring
Jason Tatum will have 6 titles.
You're crazy. Stop
3
it.
MVPs.
Stop it. I said scoring.
Oh, and he'll lead the league in scoring 4 times. 10 years.
You say he'll lead the league in scoring?
Probably. And rebounding. Anyway, just kidding.
Over Joel Embiid?
I'm just kidding.
I was about to say, come on, man.
I'm just kidding. 10 years from now, man, I'm thinking about players like Zion that's about to come up.
Scoring is going to
continue to go up. Insane. And I'm thinking about like defensive players. Like for me, I was thinking about Al Horford towards the end of his thing. Robert Williams is a good defensive player, but like is good defensive player is that meaning going to change over the next couple years? I think it probably is.
I think it is going to change, and they may even eliminate positions. To be honest with you, on that all defensive team, and just put the 5 best defensive players. I'm not saying maybe in the next couple of years, but I'm saying over time, I could see that happening, man. I could see that happening and them just going, let's just put the best 5 defensive players. And they may all be small forwards. I don't know, but that's just...
Wow, 10 years from now. I hadn't thought about that.
I think scoring is going to be ridiculous.
10 years from now.
Because the speed of the game now is so fast.
Do you think Ben Simmons will have hit a 3-point shot by then?
No. No. However, I did see him make a turnaround.
Yep. Oh, I saw that.
Not so long ago. Okay. And I was like...
Another question. Will Markelle Fultz be able to shoot by then?
Oh, I think he'll be out of the league.
Okay. I didn't want to go. Will Jimmy Butler still be in the league?
10 years from now?
Or will he be over in China because he made everybody mad? AKA Stephon Marbury.
I think Jimmy's got probably another 7 or 8.
You understand that he's Stephon Marbury version 2, right? No. I just thought about that.
No.
Wow.
No, that's disrespectful.
Wow.
No.
Anyway, that's a thought. That's good. That's a good thought to close out on.
Yeah, man.
What's the NBA going to be like 10 years from now? Wow. Well, that's all the 17-16 that we've got for you this week. Thank you, Lamar, for joining as always.
Yeah,
thank you, Anchor, for sponsoring the show. If you enjoyed, you can check out our Facebook where we've got our highlights videos, we've got our review videos, we've got all kinds of stuff you can check out there. If you're watching the show on YouTube and you enjoyed the in-person, you got to see the banter in person, you can certainly check out all of the audio sources. You can head to anchor.fm/1716 where you can see all of our shows. All 21 of them. This is the 21st show.
Awesome,
our show is an adult now.
That's awesome, bro. And Jeremy, of course, get better because we want you to come back so we can bust you up more.
That's what
especially for the Mavs losing today to the Bucks.
And probably tomorrow to whoever they play against.
Oh, yeah, especially if they're on the road.
He said it. Anyway, go Patriots. Even though we've got another show to record before the Patriots
Come on, LA.
Let's go Patriots.
Show them what's up.
Beat LA.
Rams.
I only get to say that. Well, I get to say it when I go to Boston to watch the Celtics-Lakers game. But I don't get to say it in June because we're going to be playing the Warriors because you guys aren't going to take care of your business. But anyway, go Patriots. Go Celtics. Thank you so much for joining the show.
LeBron's coming back this week.
We will see y'all in the next show. Until then, enjoy some basketball. Take care.